All right, folks, welcome back to TLC New Updates. Grab your coffee or settle into your favorite chair, because what we're diving into today might just be one of the most explosive stories ever to hit the Brown family. We've gone through county records, spoken with legal and land experts, and what we've uncovered reveals a shocking mix of arrogance, deception, and greed, something that goes way beyond what you've seen on Sister Wives. This isn't your average reality TV drama. It's a real-world property battle, a fight over land that's spiraled into a full-blown legal war. If you're looking to be ahead of each turn and turn in this rapidly unfolding Coyote Pass scandal, go ahead and subscribe and enable those notifications, because believe me, you won't want to miss what's next. And hey, if you enjoy the in-depth reporting and exclusive information we share with you, give that like button a hard click. It tells us you need more stories like this. Okay, let's get started. As with most large scandals, this one began quietly, with one piece of paper. But not only one piece of paper, a court document that could upset the very foundations of Cody Brown's beloved Coyote Pass property. Our inquiry started with the lead from a credible source within the Coconino County court system. They directed us to a recently filed civil case entitled Complaint to Quiet Title and for Damages. Now, if you're not sure what that word means, a quiet title action is basically someone being like, "Hey court, I want you to formally say that this property belongs to me, and that someone else has no claim to it." It's a big deal, and it usually costs a lot of money. You don't file something like that over some little misunderstanding. You file it when you think someone has purposely and illegally crossed that line. In their case, the plaintiffs are John and Elizabeth Miller, a retired couple who've had their land adjacent to Coyote Pass for more than 2 decades, long before the Browns arrived in Flagstaff. They're said to be quiet, unassuming people who simply wanted to spend the rest of their golden years in peace. But in their complaint, that peace was disrupted by none other than Cody Brown. The filing, which we've reviewed in full, accuses Cody Brown of doing something jaw-dropping. The Millers allege that in the spring of 2022, Cody knowingly and intentionally tampered with the official survey markers that define where their property ends and his begins. That means, if true, Cody literally dug up the metal survey pins, moved them, and repositioned them deeper into the Millers' land. And we're not talking about a few inches here. The lawsuit claims the boundary was shifted enough to include roughly 1.5 acres of their property. That's not a little piece of land. According to current Flagstaff land prices, a local appraiser estimated that 1.5 acres there might fetch $80,000 or higher. So the Millers aren't merely seeking their property back, they're suing for damages. That means the expense of new surveys, lawyer fees, and punitive damages, which are intended to punish particularly egregious behavior. Once all is said and done, this case could quite readily cost 6 figures in total. To put it bluntly, the complaint characterizes Cody as a man who believed that his celebrity status and his own proclaimed patriarchal authority put him beyond the law. Accusations are one thing, evidence is another. So, we set out to seek facts. We obtained the official plat map of Coyote Pass, the legal plan that delineates every square inch of where one piece of property ends and another starts. It's not up for debate. It's the county's enforceable record, based on surveys conducted by licensed experts with high-precision GPS technology. Every dot on that map is a physical marker, a steel pin, or brass cap pounded into the ground. They are not haphazard yard markers. They are the legal basis of property ownership. In order to better understand, we spoke with an old Arizona surveyor, David, let's say, who has more than 3 decades of experience in Flagstaff. After studying the map and the complaint, David provided us with a sobering rundown. That topmost marker on Cody's tract, he told us, should be roughly 15 feet southwest of a giant ponderosa pine, near some volcanic rocks. The coordinates are anchored to the National Geodetic Survey Network, i.e., it's fixed. It doesn't shift. But by the complaint, the marker now is elsewhere. We inquired of David how difficult it would be to relocate one of those markers. You'd require a shovel, a metal detector, and total contempt for the law, he said. These are hard steel markers, 3 feet long, frequently placed in concrete. You don't relocate them by accident. That comment says all you really need to know. If the charges are correct, this was no accident. It was intentional. Keeping that in mind, one of our local contacts in Flagstaff sent us the photo evidence of the present scenario. And the disparity is astounding. Under the official map, the original marker would be located in a rocky, wooded piece of property. But the new marker, the one the Millers allege Cody installed, is close to 100 feet deeper into their property, in a much more level open area. And it gets even more intriguing from here. Our expert David explained that the contentious 1.5 acres are not any ordinary clump of dirt. They're prime development land, flat, easy to build on, and with a beautiful view of the mountains. The original boundary was along a slope, which would be more difficult and expensive to build on. So if Cody actually did relocate the line, he didn't take more property. He took the best property. A slice ideal for a big family legacy house with view to die for. And now here's where things get a typically Cody Brown twist. Because it appears Cody might have inadvertently confessed on film. Our crew watched hours of video from recent Sister Wives shows that were filmed at Coyote Pass. Tucked away in one of those moments, Cody uttered a comment that appeared innocuous enough at the time, but given this lawsuit, it sounds downright sinister. Look at this. This is our kingdom, but we have to be smart. We have to be strategic. The map is one thing, but the land is a different story. I'm going to walk every inch of this land, and I'm going to be maximizing our land. We have to do everything we can with every tool that we have to get the most out of every square foot. The county, the surveyors, they just draw lines. I'm building a legacy. It was convincing, back then, in its way. A prime example of typical Cody bravado. But now, it sounds like an ominous on-camera confession of just what the Millers are accusing him of doing. Those phrases, maximizing our land. The map is one thing, but the reality is another. Now sound positively toxic. In light of a formal complaint, accusing Cody Brown of physically moving survey markers to take land that wasn't his. That old TV moment feels like a confession caught on camera. He wasn't just bragging, he was laying out his motive. On national television, when Cody dismissed formal surveys by stating the county, the surveyor, they just draw lines, he demonstrated a staggering disrespect for the legal framework that defines property ownership. That one sentence encapsulates the very arrogance the Millers' lawsuit portrays. A man who thought he could just redefine reality to suit himself. He didn't want only the land he bought, he wanted theirs too. The prime 1.5 acres adjacent to them. And in his own mind, he could just take it. Redraw the property lines. Make his vision a reality, regardless of whom it injured. Imagine this, one of the Millers' lawyers standing before a jury, playing that TLC clip. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the defendant in his own words, telling you exactly what he planned to do. It's as close to an open and shut demonstration of intent as you can imagine. Cody's ego might have just penned a check. His family could never hope to cash. So here's where it gets serious. The Millers' civil lawsuit isn't about money, it's a possible legal time bomb for Cody. We contacted Phoenix-based property law attorney Eleanor Vance for guidance on the dangers he's exposing himself to. She directed us to Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 33, the part that deals with property law. And here's the kicker. Vandalism of survey markers is actually listed as survey monument vandalism, a Class 2 misdemeanor under Arizona law. That is, if somebody willfully removes, defaces or destroys a survey marker, they can get 4 months in jail, a $750 fine plus surcharges, and 2 years on probation. And knowingly is the operative term here. The suit doesn't mention an accident. It accuses intent. So Cody is not just being sued. He's also under threat of arrest. A civil case brought by the Millers that would cost him hundreds of thousands in damages and require him to yield the land. Possible criminal charges if prosecutors in Coconino County choose to pursue the evidence that came to light in that civil case. The surveyor who recorded the shifted markers would be a willing witness for the state. And yes, that would mean time in jail for Cody Brown, the father of Sister Wives. Miss Vance made one point abundantly clear. When someone takes it upon themselves to literally move property lines, they're assaulting the integrity of the entire land system. Prosecutors don't see this as a neighborly disagreement. It's a fraudulent act that erodes public trust. In short, this isn't some minor misunderstanding. It's a legal and ethical catastrophe of Cody's own creation. His motivation to maximize his land may have maximized his problems instead. Now, let's discuss the piece that's going to sting the Browns, where it hurts the most. Their wallet. The Brown family has been in shaky financial times for years. But this lawsuit, it has the potential to be the one that finally pushes everything over. It's incredibly expensive to defend a quiet title action. Simply retaining an able law firm may cost tens of thousands of dollars just to get started. Toss in the expert witnesses, depositions, and filing fees, and the amount shoots through the roof quickly. Experts we consulted put the overall cost of defense at $100,000 to $150,000, only if it's resolved quickly. If the case gets bogged down, those expenses only rise higher. So ask yourself, where in the world is that money going to come from? This is a family that has already had to borrow high interest rates on their land. Meri had to crowdfund for a family member's medical expenses at one point. Janelle was living in an RV because they couldn't afford to break ground on her house. The notion that the Browns have an extra six figures just sitting around to pay for legal fees is well unrealistic at best. But the upfront costs are only half the disaster. The larger problem is what this suit does to Coyote Pass itself. The minute the Millers filed their complaint, a cloud was put on the title. That means ownership of the property is officially disputed, and that's a money death sentence. With a clouded title, the Browns can't sell any portion of Coyote Pass. No bank will lend a loan or mortgage against it. The county will not issue building permits on contentious land at all. Effectively, the property is stuck. Absolutely worthless. Janelle's dream home? Kaput. Cody and Robin's grand family mansion? Kaput. Any chance of selling off tracts to Meri or Christine for easy cash? Kaput as well. That whole multi-acre property, once worth more than $1 million, is now worthless. It's still costing them property taxes and lawyer fees, but it's creating zero value. What should have been the legacy of the Brown family is now a money pit holding them back. And here's the bitter irony. All of this is a direct result of what the lawsuit calls Cody's spontaneous self-centered decision to relocate a few metal stakes in the ground. He didn't only instigate a fight with his neighbors, he might have triggered a domino effect that would ruin his family's finances and drive them into bankruptcy. He's even jeopardized Robin's mansion, their final genuine asset, and in the process, Cody might have given Janelle Brown her ultimate vindication. For years she's fought for independence and self-sufficiency outside of Cody's domination. Now this lawsuit is absolute evidence. Making her future dependent on Cody Brown is a losing proposition. This is not merely about a boundary line. It's about a line in the sand, literally and metaphorically, and the bedlam that ensues when pride collides with reality. And according to our insiders, the fallout inside the Brown family has been nothing short of explosive. We're talking screaming matches, finger-pointing, and desperate attempts by Robin to manage the growing disaster. In part 2 of our special report, we'll show you inside the Brown family's response to this lawsuit bombshell, what each of them knew, how Janelle found out about the lawsuit, and the unexpected measures Robin is purportedly taking to safeguard herself and her belongings. Stay tuned, because this story is about to get even hotter. Because Robin's no fool. She's lived through the craziness before, she's seen how fast Cody's big ideas can fall apart, and she's not going to let his own selfishness bring her down along with him. Our sources indicate that she's been quietly working on preparing for this kind of blowback for months, if not years, structuring her finances in such a way that she remains protected from Cody's catastrophes. From the instant the letter arrived at the doorstep, Robin's attitude supposedly changed from damage control to self-preservation. The walls of the million-dollar mansion suddenly became a pressure cooker. The air was charged with tension, finger-pointing, and panicked phone calls to attorneys. As insiders suggested, Cody attempted to rally her with his standard pitch, that the family simply had to stick together, and that the Millers were seeking revenge. But Robin would not be swayed. This time, she recognized the situation for what it really was. A ticking legal time bomb, one capable of putting her home, her assets, and her children's future in jeopardy. At that moment, Cody's fabled charm, the same charisma that once had the whole family revolving around him, seemed to lose its charm. Robin, the consummate strategist, started firing questions. How long had he known? What documentation had he signed? What else was he keeping under wraps? Sources say Cody became defensive, even irate. His voice supposedly changed from entreating to outraged, attempting to spin the story back around him. "They're just jealous," he could have said. "We worked hard for it. We deserve it." But this time, Robin wasn't hearing like she did before. She was doing mental math, tallying risk, and maybe imagining a life in which she wouldn't be left holding the purse for his errors. The picture drawn by those familiar with the family is near enough to a movie. Cody pacing back and forth in his study, raging about betrayal, while Robin quietly sits at the kitchen table scrolling through her phone. Not out of sympathy, but for the advice of lawyers. And the theory our source suggests makes sense. By standing as an innocent spouse, Robin not only keeps distance from Cody's wrongdoing, but also safeguards her property from being taken in a judgment. Filing a cross-claim would enable her to proclaim, "If blame is to be had, it's his, not mine." It's a shrewd move, and one that says a lot about just how splintered this formerly united family has grown. Within the Brown family, the quiet now seems oppressive. The walls that once rang out with laughter and commotion are now reverberating with hushed phone calls and the din of quiet anger. The trust, the unity, the shared vision of forever family, all seem to be shattering beneath the whispers of secrets, suits, and self-interest. As one insider bluntly stated, "It's every man and woman for themselves now." For Janelle, that certified letter was the end of an illusion. For Robin, it could very well be the beginning of a game of legal chess to extricate herself. And for Cody Brown, the man who once kept it all together, it's the start of a reckoning he can no longer contain. The contractor, an old local with decades of experience under his belt, was said to have bluntly told Cody that the boundaries were legally drawn and could not simply be tinkered with without following proper procedure. But Cody, being Cody Brown, didn't interpret that as a definite no. As our tipster tells us, he alluded to the possibility of doing things in a more creative way, something that immediately raised warning flags. The contractor, to his credit, did not do it. He has since told a coworker that he walked away from the job because Cody didn't seem to get what property lines really are. This instance, if true, might be the smoking gun, evidence that Cody fully understood what he was doing and was warned before he even laid a hand on those stakes. That warning, under the theory, may even be on record. The contractor allegedly sent a second text message turning down additional work on grounds of boundary confusion. If that text or any other written account comes to light in court, it could irreparably demolish Cody's defense. No longer "I didn't know," no longer accident. It would be evidence he was told, explicitly, legally, professionally, and proceeded anyway. For anyone who has watched Cody Brown's tale unfold over the years, that obstinacy comes all too readily to mind. He has always thought the rules don't really apply to him, that his vision, his leadership, his sense of mission somehow exempt him from the rules that govern mere mortals. Property law doesn't accommodate charisma. It's black and white, and the courts don't care about his family mission or dream compound. Our sources indicate this news has caused shockwaves within the inner circle. Even his most loyal supporters are apparently starting to wonder how much longer they can continue to go to bat for him. The Coyote Pass dream, the grand family compound that was meant to represent harmony, now appears to be a testament to greed and denial. Meanwhile, Janelle and Meri are also getting close to making significant legal moves of their own. Janelle's lawyer is said to be lining up motions to distance her liability from Cody's behavior, while Meri, being the cautious one, has begun discreetly meeting with attorneys in Utah. What began as a family feud has now turned into a big legal chessboard, and every piece is getting into motion to defend itself. And then there's Robin, still the queen in her castle, still maintaining her public persona of fidelity and heartache. But behind it all, supposedly taking the reins on her money and mapping out her own exit strategy. From the outside, it may seem like a routine land lawsuit. But for the Browns, it's something more profound. It's the final disintegration of a decades-old fantasy, the notion that love, religion, and family could overcome anything. Now it's survival of the fittest. The Browns' story was once a tale about unity. Now it's one about survival. The contractor was flabbergasted. Cody Brown, reality television celeb and self-styled family patriarch, was purportedly proposing something out of a B-movie. According to our source, Cody gestured to the survey stakes, the very ones that technically established the property line, and semi-joking, but not really joking, told his cohorts that they should move them just 100 feet or so to where he believed they should have been in the first place. He even went as far as to mention additional money to the contractor, under the table, if he would accidentally drive over the old markers using his equipment and assist him in placing a new one in a better location. For Cody's contractor, a licensed, bonded craftsman with decades of reputation behind him, this was a mouth-dropping moment. He cut Cody off short, telling him in no ambiguous terms that what he was proposing was not only unethical, it was against the law. In Arizona, tampering with survey stakes is a serious felony offense that can cost one one's license, one's career, and even get one thrown in jail. He reportedly looked Cody in the eye and said, "Don't even think about touching those markers. You'll end up in a world of hurt." But Cody, ever the defiant optimist, allegedly brushed it off, muttering something about bureaucrats and common sense, as if the law were merely an inconvenience getting in the way of his big family dream. The contractor completed the work for which he was commissioned, packed his equipment, and did not return to Coyote Pass. Afterwards, he recounted the tale to a trusted colleague, shaking his head over what he portrayed as the arrogance of a man who appeared to believe TV stardom could rewrite the law. If this account is true, it's appalling for Cody. It shatters any suggestion that this was a misunderstanding or mere error. It indicates intention, that he knew perfectly well about the boundaries, and still felt like playing with them. It also establishes that he was openly warned by a professional that doing so would be illegal. That puts the contractor on track to be the star witness in the Miller's case. If he does testify, or if written correspondence, such as a text message or invoice comment, comes forward, it could destroy Cody's legal defense in a matter of hours. His conduct could be interpreted as willful, intentional, and malicious, paving the way for staggering punitive damages and even criminal charges. Cody didn't simply stroll into a quagmire of legal trouble. He was given a map of where the trouble was, and then danced right over it. Where does this leave us, then? The lawsuit has been filed. The family is fractured, and there are 3 potential futures for Coyote Pass, none of which are good. This is the rational way out, but it's the last thing Cody would do. Here the Browns' attorneys realize they're beaten and drive hard for a speedy settlement. They'd have to shell out to resurvey the property, formally restore the 1.5 acres to the Millers, pay 6-figure damages and legal expenses, and issue a public apology. It would be a monetary loss, and a personal one. For Cody, it would be the admission of fault, swallowing his pride and going public with the acknowledgement that he was wrong. That's something his ego may simply refuse to permit, but it's the only path that could save any potential value in what remains of Coyote Pass. This is the most Cody thing of all. Fight, deny, and dig in. Here he won't compromise, believing he's the victim of a great injustice. He retains pricey lawyers, files counterclaims, and makes the courtroom his next battlefield. The outcome, decades of legal limbo. The property is still unusable, the title still clouded, and the attorney's fees rocketing to astronomical levels. Janelle and Meri, both attached to the property, would be along for the ride, their investments stuck, and their patience frayed. In the end, the Browns would likely lose anyway, having spent far more in legal fees than a settlement ever would have cost. Left bankrupt, broken, and bitter. And then there's the worst-case scenario. The forced sale. If the Browns lose in court and can't pay the judgment, which could easily hit $250,000 or more, the Millers' attorneys could seize their assets. This involves liens on Coyote Pass, and on Cody and Robin's prized Dabsark fortress. Picture it, a sheriff's sale on the steps of the Coconino County Courthouse. The Browns' dream home auctioned off to cover Cody's land grab mistake. This would be the ultimate embarrassment, the end of an era, and the complete disintegration of the Brown family name. This isn't merely a land issue. It's a tale of pride and power gone wrong. Cody Brown didn't merely break the rules. He thought they didn't apply to him. The kingdom he established on charm and domination is breaking apart, and now the aftermath is coming back to haunt him. He stands to lose financial destruction, potential criminal exposure, and the irreparable loss of trust from the very people who once supported him. Janelle now has irrefutable evidence of his treachery. Robin can next turn against him to save herself. And the dream of Coyote Pass, the big dream that was going to bring the family together for all time, is naught but dust. Cody attempted to redraw the boundaries of his world, literally and symbolically. But ultimately, the law doesn't concern itself with dreams, only actions. Brown family collapse is not on its way. It's already arrived. And as the courtroom dust settles, this much is clear. Cody Brown's empire was not founded on firm ground.